Okay, so I have the T-tops on, and these are brand new. They are aftermarket as far as I know, and they look great. However, they're totally out of whack.
This whacked out world.
The difference here in height wise is just way too much, and even up front you can tell there's a difference between, I don't know if you can tell, this one is a lot higher than this one, and this one still has to come down quite a bit to look right. So, and especially back here, let me see if I can get a better angle so you can see. Yeah, they're way too high. And again, the one on the left is far higher than the one on the right. Now, I don't have any instructions or any shims. If those are necessary, I'm going to have to improvise. I also have never really cared for this huge gap here, especially because you can see dirt in there. I mean, and I've cleaned this a little bit, this channel. So since day one, I was thinking about painting that black just to help that kind of disappear. So I'm still debating whether I'm going to do that or not. But my main concern is going to be to see how much adjustment I can get out of these. So I think what I'm going to do is start with this one, because it seems to be the more problematic one. And you can see here the weather stripping gives it enough room to go down quite a bit. So let me set up a workbench here, and yeah, back here this is way too much. So anything that I can do to adjust them is going to be, I think, an improvement, even though it may not be perfect. I'm also going to see if I can bring these back a little bit to minimize this gap. I don't even know if that's possible, but let me see what I can do. I think these covers can be removed, and I can make some adjustments to the little tongues that go into the T-bar. So let me get started. Okay, so I have no idea if these can be, I don't think there's any adjustments here to move this back. I am going to remove these covers, have a look under there, and see what I'm working with. And again, this is, yeah, I don't see any slotted holes here where you can move this back, which is a bummer. I'm still going to investigate this a little further, see if there's anything that can be done. And these tongues here, they slide into these little pockets. It's going to be a trial and error type of approach to get the T-tops to fit properly. I don't see any major adjustment here. I don't think you can really adjust these too much, if any, but I'm going to loosen one and see what happens. And I am also going to remove this piece here to see if there's anything that could be adjusted. Again, these are just, in my opinion, way off. So I think it warrants a little bit of investigation. Okay, that's a nice little piece here. And these look like a ½ inch. Let me try a couple of things. This is beautiful. This is brand new weather stripping, so that is all great. Okay, so these are actually 7/16. Let's have a look, see if there's any movement when I loosen these nuts here. Oh yeah, so look at that. So if I go toward the front, that should bring it back. Okay, so that is something. And again, I'm just going to do some extreme adjustments here just to see where things, how they line up. Well, this is excellent, and you really don't need a whole bunch to get these situated. Let's do the tongs back there and see how much of an adjustment there is there. Oh yeah, there is some adjustment here as well, but what I would like to see if there's, oh yeah, and they don't use shims, which is great. They use actually a stack of washers, and there's 4 washers in here. So again, if I reduce the number of washers from 4 to 2, that should give me, that should position the T-top lower, I believe. I mean, you know, I'm gonna have to try this and see what happens. And once again, there is a little bit of adjustment here that can be accomplished by moving these, and these remove to the front. So yeah, let's go in that direction, see what happens. And I'm going to do the same thing back here, of course. I'm going to remove the nuts and a couple of the washers or shims. Yeah, there's also 4. So we're going to take out 2 and 2. Alrighty. Oh wow. Yeah, that went down quite a bit, and it actually moved back a little bit as well. Yeah, not a whole lot, but some. And this is very preliminary here. I think you can tell that it went down quite a bit, and I think there's actually room for a little more. The gap here is still kind of large, but I think I have it maxed as far as how much I can move this back. So I'm still gonna tinker with it from the inside of the vehicle. I'm gonna loosen the all 6 nuts and try to see if I can gain a little more movement backwards. One thing that I think I am going to do is maybe remove another shim from each one of these tongs back here. And because installation was, I mean, it was just a super easy. Whereas a few hours ago when I first installed the T-tops, this one was a pain in the neck to get lined up. And let's look from back here. Well, I think the, and I don't know if you can tell, but the difference is pretty obvious there. Look at that. So if I can lower that even a little bit, it's going to look so much better. So this is so far very encouraging. Let me do, and even this portion here is not too bad as it was before. Let me play with these a little more. I'm going to remove shims and see what happens. So I'm going to leave just one washer in there, a shim, and with these things, it's a process of trial and error. You're gonna discover that sometimes you just have to take your time and keep trying different setups. So I think we should be okay with, I hope, with one shim. Again, one per stud here. That's good. So now for this front one, I mean, I think I am really maxed out as far as what I can do. I did not remove this completely, so I am going to do that to see if there are any shims under here. I don't think there are, but I have to make sure. It'll only take a minute. So, and needless to say, when you're working on glass, you want to have some kind of way of protecting the glass. It can scratch easily. So let's see what's under here. Oh yeah, no, there are no shims. No. Yeah, there are none. And again, the plan is to move it forward, but I'm also going to make sure that it's pushed to the side, so hopefully it'll bring the T-tops closer toward the middle, and I won't have a huge gap near the rear channel, a little water channel back there. We want to minimize that. It looks bad otherwise, I think. And once more, I am going to may try to do some adjustments from inside the car. See how this goes. If it happens to be spot on, then I will not worry, but I don't think there's any chance of that being the case. I think they always need fine tweaking and adjustments. Okay, so that's a lot better. Yeah, there's definitely a step down from the passenger side T-top. So that is what we want. The channel here, it's been an improvement. I will not deny that. I did have to kind of push it a little bit into position. The reason being is I want you to keep this in mind if you ever get a set of brand new T-tops. The weather stripping is going to be a lot, thicker, plumper, whatever the term may be. And so you're going to have to really push it, make sure that the rod goes into the body by, you're going to have to convince it to go into position. But it shouldn't be a huge struggle. If it is, then you need to kind of reassess and readjust things. But yeah, I know it's hard to tell, but the difference here is pretty amazing. And let's try to look from back here. Oh yeah, I hope you can notice that difference. I mean, seriously, it's like almost like 1/8 of an inch, and that it makes a huge difference. It is so much nicer. Technically, because I still have washers for the T-bar tongues, I could remove those and see how that fits in there. Now, from the inside, and that's something that you have to keep in mind, remember that sometimes there's only so much that you can do when it comes to pushing this down. But I think we have to keep trying, because if I get this down a lot closer, one, it's going to be quieter because there's not going to be any wind intrusion through the seals. And I really think the front one here is pretty maxed out. I don't want to keep pushing my luck here, because I had to push a little bit to get this pin to get in there. And let me see if I can zoom in. See, that is the locator pin. And I think it's maxed out. I don't think there's anything else that I can do. Again, there was no washers. So unfortunately, this portion here, it's going to look like that. I would have liked this to come down a touch more. But sometimes there's only so much that you can really do. This end here, even from this point of view, yeah, it sticks out a little bit. But again, you have a rod that goes through here, so there's only so much that you can really adjust, I guess. So I would consider this one also maxed out. Here, just because I have all the tools handy, I'm gonna remove all the shims, and we'll see how that looks and how tough it is to install it. But so far, this is pretty darn good, I think. Let's see what happens. Well, that did go in. Wow. Actually, and again, if you allow the weather stripping to relax and flatten, wow, that is not too shabby actually. And also, this lever here has a big bolt here that serves as the adjustment depending on how much pressure you want this to apply, which brings the T-top down. So I'm gonna need a wrench to get this adjusted, but I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna add a little tension by extending it out a little bit, and I think that's gonna work really well. Let's try that. Okay, and this one here is 1/2 inch. So see how much direction we. So that is tightening. We're going to bring it out a little bit to add more pressure to pull the T-top closer to the trim here. And of course you want to make sure that you're pushing down back here so the rod goes into the retainer back there. So I think there's still some. Oh yeah, you can probably turn this out a little more, and I'll see if that works. Much better, I believe. Let me bring you in. We still have a gap here, not the end of the world, but this is so much better. And yes, this is down by almost, I would say maybe it's an exaggeration, but maybe 1/4 inch at the highest point. Pretty amazing. There is a little bit of a step up, not a big deal. Airflow is going to be toward the back, so that is not a concern. So there's no issue there. And this gap, it's still, it's basically a channel for water to run off. So you don't want the water pooling in here, of course. But yeah, amazing. I hope you guys can see the difference. So yeah, that was good. I managed to push the T-top in toward the middle, toward the center of the T-bar, which always looks better when you have a small gap. See, this one sticks out a little more than that one, so I am going to do the same fix or whatever adjustment to bring this one down to be even with the other T-top. Bring it back a touch and close all these gaps significantly, I think. This is going to quiet down the wind noise quite a bit. Alrighty, I'll spare you all the adjustments and playing with this because I think you already got the idea. But let me set this one up just like that one. See where we land. If I need to add one or two shims, you know, I'll make sure that it looks good, and then I'll bring you in and show you the finished product. Just a quick update. I also decided to replace these hardware store style screws with something a little more automotive looking. This looks so much better than having this kind of screw sticking out of the trim piece. I mean, it is such a nice piece. Why use this cheapo looking stuff when you can use the better quality screws, right? These are all the washers being used as shims. Don't need any of those, and I'll bring you in a minute once everything is installed. Again, these were like super long screws, taking into account that there was 4 washers per T-bar tong. So instead of those, I'm using a much shorter correct screw, and as you can see, that looks like $1,000,000. So that is my latest update. I will bring you in a sec, show you the inside and how the T-tops look from the outside. And by the way, that's why it's so important to, you know, as you restore cars or do work on your own, you want to save even the old stuff. You can always clean it up. Hardware is expensive, and just by having a good selection of factory looking screws, you can really make a huge difference when it comes to trim and stuff like that. Actually, I keep a drawer here full of stuff that some of it is pretty ratty looking, but again, a little evaporust or some paint, some cleaning with a wire wheel, you can do a lot of you can do a lot to bring it back to life. That's what I'm trying to say. So anyway, enough of that. I will save these, of course, because there's nothing wrong with them. And but that's it for now. So back in a sec. Okay, so the T-tops are adjusted and they're looking pretty darn good, actually. The channel is a little better now, looks a lot narrower. Still, the black in there may not be a bad idea. I have to look at it with the T-tops off to see how that would actually looked to see how this actually would look. The fitment is pretty amazing. I mean, no washers needed or shims. The gap here is improved. It is not too bad. They are moved back just a fraction of an inch, really, but that is enough to give it a much kind of like a natural softer instead of a thing sticking out here. The gap is really, really nice. I would say about 1/4 of an inch at the widest here, because it's, you know, nothing is 100% perfect, but that looks really, really sharp. The look from the front here, again, they're very even. They look great. I mean, I am very pleased with the end product here. They look beautiful, and I like the kind of like a very dark smoke glass, or dark, like a black. It matches the rear glass beautifully, and they're blue when you look through the T-tops from the inside of the car. So that is very cool. Of course, it darkened the interior a little bit, but boy, oh boy, that interior looks great. And let me show you inside. I mentioned this already. I used kind of automotive style screws instead of those cheapo looking things. Let me turn on a flashlight, see if that helps. You can hardly notice those unless you're really looking for them. The same thing for the for these covers here. They look great, and that is basically the idea, I believe, so they're not sticking out like sore thumbs saying, look at me, look at me. Beautiful. Let's do this, see how the let me put this in the run position, and let me bring this window up. It could be adjusted a touch more, but what a difference. But yeah, there's a little bit of oh my gosh, it's like a hairline there. And again, that's probably something that would have to be resolved by adjusting the window itself. But that is awesome. That is a big improvement there, I should say. So next, I think I am going to start detailing the interior a little bit. I still have to add the shift pattern plate. I personally think, I don't know, that this button here for the horn would look a lot better if it was black instead of that purplish blue. It's a small detail, and the next owner can address that. But let me tell you, I am so happy with how these T-tops look. That's a heck of an improvement. Let's look at the T-tops from back here. Ha! Quite the difference. They still stick up just a touch, but look at that. They look great. So I am super pleased with how this project turned out. And if you need to adjust yours, again, these, as far as I know, they are aftermarket. There's no markings of any kind on the glass. I think these retail anywhere from $1,500 to $1,800 for the set. They're not cheap. These are brand new. The interior looks beautiful, and so do the T-tops. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was somewhat helpful, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.